Hi, Shayla. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing good. You said you're doing okay. Why is that?
Well, I just felt a little bit pressed for time, kind of getting over here today. Typically with my work hours, it's kind of hard to fit sessions in, but I'm like glad that I was able to come. Hopefully, I can continue to get some pointers or some assistance here, but I'm glad that I made it today. I was just a little anxious about getting here on time, but I'm glad I made it. So, yeah, there's that. Other than that, I'm having an okay day. How's your day going?
It's going well. I'm also glad you made it here on time. Have you ever been to any services before, like a therapist or a psychiatrist?
No, I never have.
Never. Yeah, I
No.
know that can be kind of overwhelming. It's like, what am I getting into? Are they going to ask personal questions?
Yeah.
Um, so basically I just want to know why you're here. And what led you to come to therapy in the first place?
Mm-hmm. Um, well, uh, my primary doctor had diagnosed me or with, I believe, generalized anxiety. Um, and since then, she wanted to offer me like medication for it, but I didn't really want to take medication. So I was uh, really more open to therapy as an option after she mentioned that to me. So that's kind of what brought me in today, really avoiding having to take any antidepressant. I don't feel
Okay.
necessarily depressed, I guess, but yeah, I didn't want to take any medication. I've heard some pretty um, interesting results that people can have or symptoms people can experience, and I just didn't really want that.
Yeah. So you wanted to go more of the therapeutic route.
Hmm.
Um, and you said you're struggling with anxiety. What do you think brings on the anxiety? I know you said on the way here it was maybe some time anxiety of being late for appointments. Is there anything else that brings on those feelings of anxiety?
Well, of course, alongside my work schedule, um, I try to squeeze in. I work full time, so I try to squeeze in my sessions during my lunch breaks. So that kind of can be a little bit difficult there, but I'm really determined to kind of get the support that I need. So that's why I'm just considering this a sacrifice that's worth it. And some of the other things that uh, concern me a bit are like my children. I'm a mother of three. I have three beautiful children, and yeah, I kind of get concerned about them and their well-being and how they're doing when they're not around me. When they were younger, I used to want to keep them in sight, keep them close by. I felt like I began to get a little more anxious when they weren't around me, um, just wondering if they were okay. Fears. Sometimes I would have fears that they would get hurt, different things like that. And I just had a tough time not thinking about those things when they weren't with me. So I would say that's one area that I've
How
kind of
old, sorry, how old are your children now?
18, 14, and 6.
Different ages, so different you know, things to be anxious about. 18-year-old leaving the house,
Yes.
6-year-old is still a kid, so you're still trying to, keep ropes on him or them.
Hmm.
Um, have you seen an increase in your symptoms in the last couple of weeks?
Um, yes, I will say another one of the things I did not mention is related to a recent divorce that I have had from my children's father. And I know that it's been difficult for me, but I see how they too have been a bit affected. And in some ways, I feel like there's not much that I can really do about it besides, you know, maybe sit and talk to them sometimes, but I really don't even know where to begin. And I don't always know how to show up for them in this new transition that our family has had to go through, um, especially when I feel like I'm struggling myself, uh, constantly worrying about um, now that we've had the divorce, how am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to make sure that they're taken care of and they can participate in all their extracurricular activities and different things like that? So I get really worried about those things because we have just had so many changes in our family, and that really makes it pretty, pretty difficult for me. Um,
Yeah. When you have, family struggles, it's kind of an everyday thing where you're facing it every day rather than being able to compartmentalize it and face it another day. It's something that you're seeing every day.
mhm,
I'm doing school. Um, so I want to, before we get into talking about any interventions that we might take, like therapeutic support groups or um, even like community resources that can be helpful for you. I wanted to give you an anxiety assessment to see kind of what level you're functioning at.
mhm,
So I'm going to ask you some questions, and it's going to be um, asking about your feelings over the last like month or so. And you're going to give me a number between 0 and 3. 0 meaning not at all, like you're not feeling this way at all. And
mhm.
3 means you're feeling it every day.
Mhm.
Are you okay with taking this assessment?
Oh yes, yes, I am.
So over the last, couple weeks or so, how often have you been feeling nervous, anxious, or on edge?
Um, oh, maybe a 3. Uh,
Okay. What about not being able to stop or control worrying?
oh, 3.
What about worrying too much about different things?
Oh, 3.
What about trouble relaxing?
3, definitely. I can't even relax at night. Like, it's so hard to sleep. I can't. I just continue to wake up, and I'm always so tired. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Do you ever find yourself the opposite of that, being so restless that you can't sit still?
Mm, maybe a 2.
Do you get easily annoyed or irritable?
Well, yeah, with my kids, of course, and sometimes with my ex-husband. He's something else, but yes.
What would you say that you would maybe more than half the days would be a 2?
Uh, yeah, definitely more than half of the days.
What about feeling afraid as if something awful might happen?
Oh, no one has ever asked me that before, but yeah, I used to feel like that even when I was a young child. Or sometimes I feel like I'm gonna lose my job or I'm gonna go bankrupt. That worries me a bit. So I would definitely say a 3.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to, kind of think about the hard times in your life and kind of vocalize those, especially to someone you don't know. So thank you for answering those questions. Um, how would you say that these problems that I described, how would you've talked a little bit about, not being able to sleep. How have they made it for you being able to do your work or take care of things at home or get along with other people? Is it very difficult, extremely difficult, or somewhat difficult, would you say?
Um, well, I would say it's very difficult, mainly difficult at work because I think since the divorce, a lot of the things, a lot of responsibilities have now, shared responsibilities have now been placed on me, to kind of handle and to take care of. And so I feel like that has been a bit difficult. Um, and because it's so hard to sleep at night, I find that it's pretty challenging um, to get proper rest, I would say. So I don't, so when I get to work, I feel like I'm just always dragging my feet, and that's why uh, I don't know. I feel like people probably think that I'm dragging my feet and I'm not doing the best that I can. So that worries me that I'll be fired or lose my job. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if I answered your question.
That's okay. You did. You did. It sounds like you're dealing with severe anxiety symptoms, and those are really hard to deal with. And I know the first option of treatment that people presented to you was medication. Is there a specific reason besides side effects that you wouldn't want to try any sort of like SSRI or like there's medications that treat depression and anxiety that can start in small doses. Is there anything along those lines, besides the side effects that you're not wanting to take medication?
Um, well, I just, I've always, I feel a little more comfortable. I'm not really comfortable taking any medication. So I think it would be better maybe if I just had the ability to just kind of talk it through and at least start there and see what I can gain and what I can try to use um, in my day to day life before I actually go the medicine route. But I'm
Okay.
already feeling a little bit better by just kind of talking these things out. Now I'm glad that I was able to share at least that little bit with you today.
Yeah, yeah. And there's always, on top of talk therapy, there's always different avenues you could take if you wanted more community support. There's support groups like anxiety support groups and other community resources that can also aid in helping. But I think working one on one, me and you, we can focus a lot on talking through your feelings or anxiety triggers that you may face during the day, and maybe just talking through those problems and figuring out, coping mechanisms and different interventions that we can focus on. Is that something that you would want to do next week?
Yes, I think that would actually be really helpful. Yeah. And it, go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's great. Great. Well, I will plan on reaching out to do that. And thank you so much for coming to visit me today.
Thank you.